drinking Kool-Aid cameras like I did when I was 9. Cause I like to pretend that I haven't lost the time. In the end, the nostalgia, though it tastes fine, I can only drink a couple cause it feels like a lie. We'd play Halo and we'd lay low in our basement until the sun began to rise. We would go to school but not learn too much, cause it's hard to read when you've got tired eyes. Months go by, the time it flies, past the days that we drink Kool-Aid in the summertime. Years go by, the time it flies, past the days that we drink Kool-Aid in the summertime. They've been with me for some time, and it's nice to know that they still by my side. Friends are like stars, cause no matter how far, when it's dark outside, they will be your light. We'd play Halo and we'd lay low in our basement until the sun began to rise. We would go to school but not learn too much, cause it's hard to read when you've got tired eyes. Months go by, the time it flies, past the days that we drank Kool-Aid in the summertime. Years go by, the time it flies, past the days that we drank Kool-Aid in the summertime.
Yo, I ain't here for the money, I ain't here for the fame. Though it might be nice to own a jet plane, I'ma do it all for you.
Hello.
Yo, howdy,
Hi.
Tevin.
Hi,
How are
Spencer. I'm great. How are you?
you? Doing pretty well, thanks. Doing great on this beautiful, cloudy Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, it's overcast over here as well.
It do be like that. I think we're back for episode, don't quote me on this, I think we're on episode 21 of the podcast.
I lost track, so I'm gonna go with that.
Yeah, full disclosure, I've fallen a little behind on the editing. I have a couple more to post on our various audio platforms, SoundCloud and Spotify and so on. So if you want to listen back at a later date, you're welcome to do that. Only after I actually post them. So please bear with me. But yeah, episode 21. We had a bit of a roster switcheroo here. The lovely Lainey has departed from us. So in the meantime, well, she's doing other things. She hasn't completely departed. Thank God.
She's still on this planet.
She is. She is among the land of the living.
Just a different route.
So, you know, in the interim period, while we search for a different co-host, I will be here for a little while. And I'm very happy, as always, to fill in when need be. But we've got a pretty cool guest to have on today, someone we've been trying to talk to for quite a while, the one and only XVI the Great. And this guy has been a member of the team since, I want to say, the beginning of the year. maybe it was. I don't fully remember it, and you'll have to forgive me, XVI, when we get you in here. But we got him quite a while ago, and he's a Redditor, a YouTuber, streams on Twitch as well, and we're very happy to have him in here. So welcome, sir.
Welcome. Or, well, thank you for the welcome. Thank you. And may I say, you have me on episode 21, but you could have had me on episode 16. I mean, that would have just been perfect.
We should have planned it a little better.
I'm complaining to the manager. First thing out the gate.
You want to talk to the manager? You got two of them here, so we can do that.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here. Yeah, I did join. I joined, I think it was like, just about the beginning of the year, whenever season 1 or something, right when I finished the guides, I've been in for a while, and I'm thankful and happy to be here. I'm thankful for the advice and the community that I'm able to talk with. So it's a great experience.
Well, thank you.
We're excited. So, ask this first question to everyone. Co-host has changed, but this question is not. What was the very first video game that you played that got you into gaming and made you fall in love with it?
That got me into gaming? I definitely know the first video game I played. The first game that I played that got me into gaming would probably be Halo 2, because I remember playing Halo 2. I played Legendary and I got destroyed. And I was in awe of the level of challenge. So it was something like I had to do it. I became like obsessed about beating Halo 2 on Legendary. So that's probably what got me into gaming.
Okay.
Would you believe me if I told you I've never played Halo ever?
I would. Like a casual.
What can I say?
Spencer?
Oh, I'm supposed to come up with something now?
No,
out of curiosity, how do you go from Halo to Call of Duty? I mean, I know a lot of people have made the jump. The pros, Frankie, who's basically a pro at this point, let's be real. How did that get you to where you are today?
Everyone at school was playing Call of Duty. So I'm pretty old now. I'm 31 years old. Sound like I'm 21, maybe 11. But everybody
16.
at school was playing Call of Duty, and I was kind of left out of that. And I had to get with the thing. So I went from Halo to Call of Duty because that's where everybody was. Everybody was playing Call of Duty, and that was the golden age, right? That was Call of Duty 4 when everybody was in there. So that's about when I started. So I've been in shooters ever since. I love shooters, FPS. That's just my thing.
What drove you to chase like mastery, completion challenges and stuff like that in each Call of Duty?
In each Call of Duty, well, I think it probably did start with Halo 2 on Legendary, just being in awe of, I don't even know how young I was back then. I must have been like 11 or 12, looking at how difficult Halo 2 Legendary was, and just it made me want to conquer it, And so I guess ever since then, I've been a masochist for just difficulty, the Damascus grind in Modern Warfare 19, we called it masochist for Damascus, right? Because it was that hard. It was insane. And so I guess I've just always been obsessed with completing everything, doing everything, hardest difficulty, whatever it is. If it's there, I want to do it. And for most everything I love completing things.
It's also a pretty good flex too, I would imagine too, just being able to have 100% completion in most things that most people don't even have the attention span, the sanity levels, or anything like that to go through and complete as well.
Yeah, pretty disheveled these days. It wears you down. It wears you down. But yeah, it takes a lot of dedication. Completing everything, everywhere, on every game. But I don't know. It's just the chase. I love the chase.
Yeah, I've never completed any single Call of Duty title. The closest I've gotten was like Black Sky on Infinite Warfare, and I think I still have to get Diamond on my snipers or something. But I've just never had the attention span or the willpower to do it. Every year I sit down like Vanguard, I was like, all right, I'm going to get this camo. And then it didn't happen. I don't think I ever even got gold on any set of weapons. I couldn't do it. My guides. So
that's the only explanation.
Yeah, well, shameless plug, but that's what we're here for. I definitely should have consulted the one and only XVI the Great himself. But there is a lot to be said for it, and so I'm sure I'm sure you're going to go crazy in MW2 as well. Which, before we go any further into like a lot of your work with Reddit and stuff, we just got through the MW2 beta. A couple episodes ago, we talked with Primitive AK about his thoughts about the game. But having actually played some of it now and seen it, what do you think? What are you thinking?
I'm thinking it's a game that is built for players who aren't like me. I'm thinking it's a game that's built for engagement. Activision these days is a very corporate. Uh, they're chasing the quarterly profits. They're chasing the fear of missing out. They're chasing the flavor of the month. And what they're doing is they're designing a game that is designed to get people repeatedly engaging with the franchise. And what that means is that it has to appeal to the broadest range of gamers. And we know where the average gamer lies, sort of on the KD spectrum. The data is there. You're usually a negative KD gamer. And so in order to get a gamer like that engaging with the franchise every month, because that's their main metric, monthly engagements, they have to design a game where that kind of gamer doesn't feel bad playing it. And so if it's designed for the everyday gamer, and it's really not designed for a hardcore gamer like me. So I didn't have too great of a time playing it. I took issue with a lot of the design elements, but I'm still very excited to complete the master camo. I love the master camo, doing the master camo every year, every challenge, every this, every that. Um, but I think it's a pretty uniform opinion between more hardcore players that hardcore players didn't like it,
Yeah.
or casual, lighthearted gamers. They loved it, and that's great. I mean, honestly, I don't say that with any bit of spite. Everyone who purchases Call of Duty deserves to have fun, but it doesn't look like it'll be a game for me. But being said, I'm still full-hearted, passionate about Call of Duty and creating guides. So I'll be very excited to do that.
Do you feel like that's somewhat necessary though? For the last 2-3 years, everyone's been saying on how Call of Duty's dead. So do you feel like that has to be something that they have to take the approach on reaching a more broad like population of people to buy their game in order to actually restart and kind of get that momentum back to where it used to be in the golden days, as you said?
I don't blame Activision for doing. I don't blame Activision for designing the games with the types of systems that they've had. I don't blame them one bit. Activision's a business. A business exists to make a profit, and they have found ways to maximize that profit, especially with Modern Warfare 19. Modern Warfare 19
Yeah.
was no joke. It was the most successful Call of Duty of all time. And like you said, just pouring money, right? That game
Mhm.
printed money. 'Cause That game had so many systems in it that fostered that repeat engagement. They realized how successful that game is, and now they're turning it up to 11. So I don't blame Activision for creating games like this in the slightest. Naturally, I dislike it as a very hardcore, loyal, dedicated fan of the franchise, but I don't blame them one bit.
Yeah, I think that's something that is like a very hard pill to swallow for a lot of us, whether, we're the real hardcore gamer types like you or just content creators, people in the community, because we all go into this with a certain set of expectations for each game. Like every year, the whole skill based matchmaking thing comes up. It's obviously not going away, no matter how much people complain about it. It's here until Call of Duty and gaming runs its course altogether. But we just go through it every time where people get on and they complain about this and that, and it's like, yes, those are legitimate complaints, but at the same time, like you said, Activision is doing what corporations do. It's working in its best interest, and they know from MW19, from Cold War, and Vanguard to a lesser extent, I think, that this does work. All they have to do is take MW19, turn it up to a notch, like you said, reskin it, give the graphics a boost, and it's going to be a cash cow. So it is hard. Like, I want to be realistic, but I also still get pretty aggravated about some of these things, like the map design, the mini map or lack thereof in MW19 at the very beginning, which is insane. Like, it's a hard balance there, and I think we're just entering or well into a different era of gaming at this point.
Yeah, this era, SBMM is the plague that has taken over.
Yeah.
It's taken over everything. It's SBMM because that's a factor of engagement. Engagement is
Mhm.
what everybody wants. Every app you download, every news website you go to, every channel you tune into, everyone wants you to come back, and that's what everything's been about. That's how you maximize the most amount of dollars, and that's what Call of Duty has turned into as well. And like
Yeah.
I said, I don't blame them, but it is what it is. I think they're having their cake and eating it too, because they're
Mhm.
creating a game that hardcore players tend to dislike. and casual players tend to like, but they're adding skill-based matchmaking on top of it. So if you just had skill-based matchmaking, I think you could please both crowds, but it is what it is.
Indeed.
Spencer, did you play the beta at all?
I did. I didn't play the beta nearly as much as I wanted to. It just got really bogged down in work. But the little that I did play it, and now I'm a complete noob at COD, so no wonder I enjoyed it, right? But but I mean, I didn't love it, but I was able to get on and have a good time, and it didn't feel as much of a bore as Vanguard did. Like I'm very upfront that I haven't played Vanguard since December 30th. Like I've gotten on to get screenshots in private lobbies. I haven't played multiplayer, and I don't regret that, not at all. But I thought it was solid. It felt, at least initially to me, it felt a little bit like a cross between Ghosts and MW19, but it was also very Vanguard-y. Just the map design, the visuals of, and a lot of the mechanical aspects I didn't love. Like, of course, the recoil pattern I thought was awful. The player nameplate stuff, like there were just so many things like that kind of annoyed me. But on the whole, like increase the time to kill a little bit. I think it'll be okay. Will it get us through 2 years? I don't know.
That's the question.
I hope the new seasons are really good every single time, because they miss it and game over. I don't know what we're gonna do until 2024 otherwise. So like, It's kind of a weird place, but I'm very cautiously optimistic, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have the full game. We don't have, in the beta, we didn't have all of the tools that we're going to have access to in the full game.
Mm-hmm.
We can only hope and have some optimism that maybe they'll make things a little bit better for the more hardcore players, because that's the most dedicated fan base. And while it might be the loudest, it definitely isn't the fan base that is the silent majority. And I think the silent majority likes Modern Warfare 2. I think they deserve to like Modern Warfare 2. I think everybody who purchases Call of Duty deserves to have fun. Everyone deserves to have their game. But it is a bit saddening that it seems to come at the cost of the hardcore player experience.
What was a few like little minor adjustments that you would have wanted to see tweaked in the beta?
An extreme dampening of footstep noises with occlusion, so that it's a lot harder to hear footsteps, people coming. I would really like specialist bonus to be added. That's specialist from Modern Warfare 3. And generally, I would like, obviously the time to kill. I would like the time to kill to be increased a little bit, as well as just handling speeds. How fast you could draw your weapon and all that. I'd like that to be improved as well. Those would be some of my biggest factors. I thought the maps were great. I think a lot of people didn't like the maps. I thought the maps were pretty well designed. Maybe they didn't play too well for 6v6, but they were quite well designed for Modern Warfare 2, I thought.
Yeah, I actually like the maps quite a bit. The only thing I wanted was that the headshot multiplier on it right now went crazy. Like, it was
a lot
insane.
Of one frames, a lot of insta kills. Yeah.
You think I'd be used to it, kind of like grinding Valorant on the other side, where one taps is absolutely normal, but for it to be into Call of Duty was like definitely something I was not used to at all. Like there was times where I would just absolutely disregarded and obliterated on the map.
Yeah.
So about roughly what made you want to get into Reddit and start these guides, and like what opened that door for you to start pursuing that?
So I've always, like in every game that I've played over the years, I've always just made like tiny little guides here and there, because it's just something that's fun to me. I like making guides. I like, sort of being of service to people. I like providing information to people, especially when I have to struggle through, if I have to struggle through some hard achievement or challenge or this or that, or some significant obstacle in a video game. The number one thing I want to do is I want to have a guide for it. It's like, damn. So when I struggle so hard, what I want is for other people not to have to struggle as hard. So that's just, I don't know, making guides is something that's actually interesting and fun for me. It's the weirdest thing in the world, but when I was a cashier over a decade ago, because I'm that old, right? Over a decade ago, when I was a cashier, I actually liked the customer service positions. You already had your idiots who were screaming and yelling at you that the box was dented 1 centimeter in the top right corner or whatever. But you had your customer service moments. But I actually liked being a cashier and being of service to people. It's strange. It makes me weird, I think, but I don't know. I like making guides, and you said what opened the door was in Cold War Season 5, I decided to just make a seasonal challenge guide just all 20 challenges. This is the best way to do them, and it blew up, and there was a lot of positive engagement and reaction on it. And so when I posted like the season 6 guide, because I was motivated to do so, it's like people actually recognized my name, and I was like, whoa, there's actually something that can happen here. So I created like the subreddit, and I encouraged people to join. Like, hey, I'm going to do this for Vanguard. And I did it for Vanguard. I made a lot of guides for Vanguard. I'm very proud of what I did and the results that have come with it. And it's still a product of passion, and so it doesn't feel as much of like a time sink or an obligation or a job. It's something that I enjoy doing. I enjoy making a good quality product that helps people.
Nice.
It's really cool. And for the people that are watching, granted, a lot of them are probably familiar with our community. A lot of them are members of the team, if not close friends. But for people that are not familiar with you and your work, what exactly goes into these guides? What do they look like? What are they all about? And what are you planning on doing with that going into MW2?
So what they look like is they're traditionally text guides, and there's some approaches that I take with the guides. Is that basically if there is a question that I wanted to know, that I wanted to answer when I was going through the thing, when I was doing the challenge, when I was completing the whatever. If there was a question that I wanted to know, I go ahead and I answer it. So one approach that I take is like every possible question somebody could ask, I already answered in the guide because I would want to know those things. So that's where all the details come through. So my guides are very detail oriented, organized, and informative. And they're supposed to give you two steps, right? One, they're supposed to be specific and actionable. This is my personal rule. I don't know if I read it in a book 10 years ago and now I think I came up with it. I'd like to think I came up with it. Maybe I read it a gazillion years ago and I'm just taking credit for it. But two elements, specific and actionable. One is that they're specific enough so that people understand what the information is telling them about. And two, actionable means that once they're done reading the guide, they know what to do. They know where to go within the game. They know what map to play, what gun to use, what attachment setup to use, whatever. It's they already know what to do with the information. So if you read one of my guides, you should expect to be well informed on the subject that you're reading on, and you should know what to do next.
Cool. And so these cover the seasonal challenges in Call of Duty and camos and things of that nature.
Yeah, seasonal challenges, camos. I'd really like to expand into more tips and tricks with Modern Warfare 2. And you also asked like what's ahead for Modern Warfare 2. So what lies ahead with the game it all depends on the game. I can't really say, what's going to happen. There'll definitely be a master camo guide. They have the master camo every year. So we'll have the master camo guide. They'll probably have seasonal challenges as well. I'm looking forward to providing those. But I mean, they're gonna have like special ops and stuff. So I love special ops in Modern Warfare 19. Nobody else did but me. I love special ops in Modern Warfare 19. So I'm looking forward to whatever the game has is what I like to make a guide on. Simple as that.
And you make weapon guides as well, correct? Or
I make loadouts. So the loadouts that I include with my guides, one of the most time intensive parts of the guides is sitting there in matches against bots, shooting the gun for hundreds of kills, making the tiniest little changes because they have the advanced stats where you can see like all the little percentile changes and all the milliseconds and all the idle sway and the initial kick and all these tiny little stats. And I look at all of that. I understand all of that, mainly thanks to Exclusive A's videos. And I take care to understand the game on a significant enough level to where I shoot, literally when I'm optimizing some guns, I shoot them for like 3 or 4 hours, just going back and forth between this attachment, that attachment, just, trying to make the gun slightly faster, slightly more recoil, slightly higher damage, whatever. I spend a lot of time. On those. So when I give people loadouts, they're not just like, I slap together a gun and it feels good, therefore use it. It's like,
it's
like, well,
statistically the best.
Use the Mercury silencer because it gives you 10% horizontal recoil control. It's like, it's, but that's the truth is, I understand the game on I put the time in to understand the game on a personal level, on a deeper level. And, I use that knowledge to build effective weapons.
Has there ever been a time to you to where like you've built these statistically best weapon on paper, but in game it just didn't really feel that way?
Yes. And it still blows my mind to this day. I don't know why the MP40 with the whatever that stock is that everybody uses, it's sprint to fire and movement speed. It is statistically worse than my best MP40, but it feels so much better, and I have no idea why. It's a statistical anomaly.
It was
So
funny
I
'cause, like,
recommend that. Spencer hit me up for an MP40 the other day. It has that stock on it. It does not have the theoretically best MP40, the numerical best. It feels better, and I don't know why.
because I remember there was like a conversation in our group chat, and it was funny to see, like, we have Frankie who would play the game on hours on end, and we always, like, the skill level that he plays at. And then a conversation with you, and it was about a loadout, and it was like funny to see. He's like, I'm using this gun, I know how it feels. And you're like, yes, but this is what it does. And like, it was like funny to see the two different perspectives go back and forth on it.
It's maybe the math feels one way, but the gun it feels differently, and
Mhm.
it will feel different for other players because players
Yeah.
of various skill levels. I mean, whatever gun feels best to them is what they're going to perform best with. So it doesn't matter if I've got one that aims down sights faster, even or does whatever faster. If it
Mhm.
feels better to someone else, then they should use that because they'll perform better with it. They'll perform best with it. You know,
Mhm.
there are just because it's the numerical best doesn't mean it's the actual best.
Yeah. So, kind of going back to the whole general Reddit side of things, how have you noticed that community? Um, how does it differ from the people that tune into YouTube videos, for example? Because it seems like, at least in terms of something like a best class setup for a particular weapon, one could easily go to YouTube and just look up whatever, find their favorite creator, click on that video. Um, it seems to draw a different demographic on Reddit. And how do you think those are? If they are similar, how are they similar? But in what ways would you say they're different?
I thinking about the similarities, I'm not really sure about the similarities because they are quite dissimilar to me. On YouTube, clickbait works. Clickbait works. It gets thumbs ups. It gets likes. It gets views. It gets clicks. On Reddit, that it gets downvoted. It gets deleted by the moderators. That get it out of here. That does not work on Reddit at all. Reddit's a very different. It's a very different demographic. They're more information based and objective based. Whereas on YouTube, it's all about somebody being all bombastic in front of the camera with a big old smile. It's crazy. It's two shot. It's like, just, use it right now. And it's like, the viewer uses it and they're like, yeah, this is so good. But on Reddit, you say like, oh, look at this 2-shot MP40. Yeah, within 10 seconds, you're gonna have some nerd in the comments saying this deals 33 damage. Ain't no way this is killing in 2 bullets. Okay, this is misinformation and you are lying.
Well,
So and
actually,
Reddit is all about
yeah,
Reddit's all about like objectivity and information and like actually proving your point.
yeah.
They won't really take your point at face value. So it's about validity of information on Reddit, whereas YouTube is definitely more emotions driven.
Makes sense.
I can see
Yeah,
that.
the few times that I've really gotten involved in the comments on Reddit, it's been like that, like you said, where people very detail oriented, very they want precision and all this stuff. And if you make the slightest mistake or you say something just not quite right, you're going to get raked through the coals for it. Like, no doubt about it. And then on YouTube, like you said, you can just get up there and be like, wow, best gun, and, make a killing. Like, it is, it's like information versus entertainment. And even though people go to YouTube thinking that they're looking for information, what they end up getting is entertainment, whether they know it or not. It seems to me.
Yeah, and on Reddit, everything is accessible within, if for example on the guide, if you're looking for my STG 44 guide as part of the assault rifles, all you do is you scroll within 10 seconds and you're there. On YouTube, you're like sitting there looking at the red bar at the bottom, like, okay, which chapter? If they don't have chapters, then you're like clicking here, clicking there, clicking here, and you're
Yeah.
going from video to video to video. Like, is this video going to be the one is this video going to be the one that helps me? On Reddit, it's like you can see at a glance, like, oh, okay, this looks like it's,
Mhm.
it's actually, you don't have to spend 2 or 3 minutes wasting your time watching a video. Like Spencer said, 8 minutes and 13 seconds left of the censored video that he's not going to get back in his life. It's like, you're not going to get that. You're not going to get that time back on YouTube, but on Reddit, it's all text. So all you got to do is scroll and you already know.
Control F it.
Yeah. Control F.
Honestly.
So we know how toxic the Call of Duty fan base can be and stuff like that, and especially with people who are pretty technical on the Reddit side and stuff like that, how do you normally deal with negative feedback in your guides or anything like that?
I'm gonna say that I don't. I really don't get a lot because I think it's like when people recognize that you're doing something for somebody else, people are a lot less inclined to be toxic. I think people
Mhm.
will be more inclined to be toxic on like a two-shot MP40 on YouTube.
On a more
It's hard to
emotion-based
explain
type
because
video?
it's more emotion based, and so people maybe feel more inclined to be toxic. But on mine, it's very information based and stuff. I mean, I do get those comments, but I don't even reply to them. So
Yeah.
they're sat there at the bottom. Other people downvote it. Other people yell at them. I don't even need to worry about that. So I skip over them. I don't really find I find that if I'm doing something for some people, people tend not to be toxic. And proven point. On my level 9,000 post, I did a statistical analysis of the insults that I got on this point. Yeah, on this post: touch grass, talk to women, go outside, take a shower, this, that. There was a whole pie chart. Because there was so many comments. I was like, it's comical, right? There was so many comments about that. But on the level 10,000
Yeah.
post, which had a giveaway, I don't think there was even like one negative comment. Maybe there was like one or two, but like, I mean, it was like 1,000 on the level 9,000 post. I mean, it was just it was endless.
Yeah.
But on the 10,000 post, because it was a giveaway, because I was doing something for some people, there wasn't a
Hmm.
lot of toxicity.
And then I think about that and compare that to Frankie's experience on Reddit, which I think is a little bit different because, like you said, you're kind of providing a service, and in the case of a giveaway, I mean, shoot, that's kind of a big deal. But like the few times that Frankie has been uploaded on Reddit and exposed for cheating, reverse boosting, hacking, whatever the case may be, it doesn't seem like a whole lot of rationality is going on there. And
No, no.
comparing that to some of the stuff that you deal with is pretty remarkable because it's like you see two sides of Reddit. And that's like the only time I get involved with the Call of Duty Reddit scene is if I'm clicking on something of yours or I find out that one of my friends has been, exposed and I have to go weigh in on it. But it's like just
Exposed.
very
That was our
right.
introduction, right? That was how we
Yeah.
got acquainted. Reddit. Frankie got.
That was how I met you. I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, he got accusated. Um,
Twice on
yeah,
Cold War, at least.
Yeah, and he was. I remember he let God bless, right? He left like 3 comments like, "Hey, this is me. I live stream all my gameplay. None of it is reverse boosted. Downvoted to oblivion. Ain't nobody believing him." And it's just like I was defending him like on every comment. Like I was coming back with like math and like statistics and stuff
Mhm.
that is like objectively valid. On like everything. I got so many downvotes on that post defending Reaper, Frankie, that I was shadow banned from that subreddit. I got so many downvotes that day. Like I was shadow banned from the subreddit because I got like automatically flagged as like a toxic user or whatever. And I'm just out here saying like, look at this. Here's the evidence. Here's the proof.
Mhm.
You're an idiot, right? And you're wrong. So but like I got so many downvotes, but it was
Yeah.
it's crazy. There's a reason that I don't post my gameplay on Reddit. I already know what the comments are gonna be.
Oh
It
yeah.
ain't worth it.
So do you ever post like video proof with your Reddit posts? And if that's the case, like knowing how the feedback can go, just because it's one thing to read something on text and stuff like that and interpret it. It's another thing for someone to actually take it in visually. And even if like on the book, if you're saying this is like the best MP40 and you visually put it, do you think like that's going to protect you from accusations at all or no?
If I haven't ever come, if you're talking about posting video evidence that backs up that a gun I'm saying is the best, for example, is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
I don't really make the claim that they're the best on Reddit. I just claim that I put time into them. So I
Good
guess
choice of
I guess I
words.
do use the words the best way to get a gun gold, but I don't say that this is the best gun.
Like the only way.
Like
Yeah.
yeah. So I don't really make the assertion that my guns are the best on Reddit, and so I don't really have to. I think they speak for themselves because enough users come in the comments and they say like, "Man, I'm using these loadouts, so they're so good or whatever." But I think people understand that they are just sort of inherently at least good because I put reasons as to why I choose this attachment, that attachment. I just put justifications, and
Yeah.
so it gives off the vibe that I'm somebody who's maybe does research and knows what I'm talking about, and therefore they don't need to question it. So
Yeah, it's a much more modest claim to just say that, like, hey, I've been doing some tests and I've been playing around with it, and this works really well for me, compared to the people that, yeah, like we were saying on YouTube, the very best OP one shot, blah blah blah. It's like, okay, like that's a pretty bold claim, and you clearly don't have a lot to back it up. I mean,
every time I see one of those titles, if it says like 2-shot MP40, I'm sitting there,
Yeah.
I'm looking at the video, I'm counting the shots, and I already know it's gonna be it's always one less than they say. If it's a 2-shot MP40, I already know it's a 3-shot. Like I'm over there counting the shots. I don't leave any
Yeah.
comments, I don't leave any dislikes, but I'm onto you. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it's a tough thing because, like, I mean, being a YouTube guy myself, I know that you have to, if you're trying to drive engagements, you have to use that hyperbolic, ridiculous language. But
It's the name of
at the
game
end of
on
the
that
day, I
platform.
mean, if someone put a gun to my head and said, "Is this the best MP40 class setup ever?" I'm gonna be like, I don't fucking know. I have no idea. I hope, probably not, but hope it does well enough. Now that we've exposed the whole Skirata channel, we can pack up and go home, I guess. But no, it's a really funny thing, and I hadn't really thought of that distinction between just like not trying to present it as like the best of the best. You're just, here's what I did. Make of it what you will, and then let it speak for itself. You don't have to fluff it up with nonsense. So that's pretty cool.
absolutely.
And so I know you have dabbled in YouTube a bit. Is that something you want to do more of, or are you just going to kind of double down with what's been working on Reddit, at least going into MW2?
So the plans are to continue everything on Reddit, as planned. I'd really like to get a lot more diversified and like more integrated into YouTube. I want to do more on YouTube because I think certain concepts really are presented a lot better on YouTube. I want to make a video about why the importance of red dots, and it's really hard to type that out. But if I show you, because I guarantee I have this A+ argument, right? But I just gotta record the footage. But one of the main reasons that I haven't done so much on YouTube is that the level 1000 grind. That takes so much time,
Yeah.
and I don't know if I'll be doing that in Modern Warfare 2. I mean, it takes so much time, right? It's difficult to do all of that grinding while also uploading content and stuff. And part of it was just sort of discouragement. Vanguard was DOA, and it was already it was just departing. It's kind of difficult to work up the
Yeah.
the motivation to do something for a game that's performing so poorly. But definitely for Modern Warfare 2, I'd really like to expand my offerings. I hope they don't reintroduce the level 1000 grind because I'm a crackhead. I'll go for it. I'll complete it if it if it's there. But yeah, I think also Modern Warfare 2 is one of those games that it's kind of like you'll play it for as long as you can tolerate it. You get your content, you get it done. I'll devote a significant amount of time to learning every dimension of it and mastering it as best as I can. But I think I'll have a lot more time to make content with Modern Warfare 2.
Do you
I like
find
the sound of that.
do you find more joy in solo queuing and working on things that you want to work on? Like, do you feel like people just get in the way, or do you actually prefer to play with friends and stuff like that?
I prefer solo because with the way that I am, I like to do what I want when I want to do it, and I never want to have to rely on somebody else's plan or what they want to do. If I don't want to play a map, I don't play a map. If I don't want to play a game mode, I don't play a game mode. So typically, I typically traditionally like to play solo, and it's usually because I am working on completionist things like all the time, like a certain challenge or this or that. I want to be able to go in and just do the best mode that it is for that. And it's like when you're playing with other people, you sort of have this like social contract with other people that you'll play X amount of games, or if you leave the party, you might get replaced or whatever, or if you're not the host, you have to play a map that you don't want to play. It's I don't know. I enjoy playing solo because it gives me agency over doing what I want to do, and that's something that I value.
Makes sense.
Yeah, some of my best memories on Call of Duty have been playing in a party, which I think that is kind of from a bygone era at this point. Like I just think back to BO3, well even AW, BO3, IW, World War II as well to some extent, but like the good old days of you get home from work and then I get on COD and like just play with my team, whether it's Skirata people or IRL friends or whoever, just play for hours, and it was great. And I remember doing that a little bit at the beginning of Vanguard. We did a couple like team challenge things. We did some team videos on there, and that was great. And then like on stream and off stream, I would play a lot with Nina and I think Somber as well. Um, that was a lot of fun, but there is kind of that side, like you said, where you get to the point where it's like, okay, I don't want to play that map. I don't want to do this. Like, the game when you can barely tolerate the game as it is, like you end up just kind of doing your own thing because well, I don't want to play on Castle. I want to play Shipment or Das House, like, and
Skill-based matchmaking itself did kill party play.
yeah,
Party play. It straight up killed it because it means that different people at different levels of SPMM are going to have different experiences,
mhm,
and when you shove them into experiences that they're not used to, a lot of people have bad time. Party play mandates that you play with people on your skill level, whether
yeah,
that's high skill or low skill. If you have something, sort of in the mix that doesn't match, it's going to sort of throw the party out of whack. So, if you're like a high skill player, well, you know, if you don't like the ego of these players that you're playing with, it's like, well, kind of got to put up with them, right? Because that's just what that's
mhm,
that's what you have to do. Skill-based matchmaking itself destroyed party play because it just you used to have a group of friends. I mean, I experienced it myself in Modern Warfare 19, and now it's like maybe I like playing solo because I played by myself for so long because party play is chalked in Call of Duty.
Mhm.
yeah,
Um, yeah, party play, skill-based matchmaking destroyed. It literally destroyed friendships.
Because I remember for a while, like the way around it was like having the lower KD player host it because they'd be a little more comfortable in their
I don't know if that ever worked, to
environment.
be honest, but yeah,
It
yeah.
at least,
AW it sure
yeah,
did.
What
it
matters is that it
yeah,
feels like it works.
yeah. Oh no, it
Yeah.
definitely worked, but they were more familiar, and then it like came to the point to where it kind of like they caught on, and so it slowly just drowned itself out. And then on top of that,
Mm,
because it also worked with Warzone as well. Like for a while, like having the lower KD players, you would get the lower KD lobbies as well, and then they also eventually found that out. But it definitely because it sucks because I mean you want your friends to have a good time as well. So it's like when you are a substantially better player or anything like that, it's like and they get thrown into your lobbies and it's like
yeah.
you're competing and stuff like that, and then you have them go 3-23, and you're like, I feel bad because I know they're not having a good time. No one wants to do that. So yeah, actually, I can see that SBM definitely has ruined like party play and stuff like that, and it definitely does make it harder to play with friends who are a little more on the casual level and stuff like that.
And not only that, but the whole SBMM and then parties disbanding thing, I think definitely changed the dynamic in COD. And of course, the parties disbanding, in addition to the matchmaking system that they have now, it's also like, well, it reduces toxicity because you don't have people calling each other slurs game after game or whatever. But I mean, that was how I made a lot of friends, like meeting people in lobbies, and then you just invite them, like, "Oh, you played well." Maybe we were chatting in game chat, and then we did that a couple games. It went well. Like that was kind of how you networked in Call of Duty back in the day before you had a lot of streaming platforms and Twitter and all that stuff. And so it feels like for me that has been lost for quite a long time. I mean, I can't begin to tell you the last time I added someone in a Call of Duty lobby that I played against or played with. Like, I don't think I've done that since probably Infinite Warfare. If I'm being honest, it's been ages, and
Yeah.
I kind of miss it. It's not coming back. I know it, but I miss it.
It's a very antisocial system, and
Yeah.
it's just like the rest of the game. The entire game itself is designed to be antisocial, with
Mhm.
with like disbanding lobbies and such. It's all about getting you a oh man, you just had a bad game. Let me disband this lobby and get you a better game next game, so that you'll stay engaged with
And
the
then
game.
buy more in
It's
the
all,
store. Yeah.
yep, yep, and they do,
Very cynical, but true.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I never mean to be a pessimist. I always want nothing but the best Call of Duty, and
Mhm.
I want Call of Duty to be the best game it can be. Um, I want what I would want ideally is that everybody who buys Call of Duty has a good time because everybody deserves that. Everybody
Yeah.
deserves to have fun in Call of Duty. But I think the developers know that they can't create their perfect Call of Duty because you have to make concessions in the game design for profit.
Yeah.
You have to make your imperfect game in order to get more money. And that's just, Activision won't let them make their perfect game because it won't make enough money. So that's the state of Call of Duty in 2022. I'm still looking forward to it. I mean, honestly, it's
Yeah.
going to be a new game, new experience. I love using new guns. I love the master camo grind. I'm always passionate about Call of Duty. This year I'll actually be able to play Warzone because I'll have FOV slider on console
Yeah.
game. Warzone is unplayable this year. I have to play it on PC. I'm not smart enough to PC game. Okay, all this troubleshooting and all this nonsense. Just work right. But
Plug
yeah,
and play.
console at least I can play Warzone on console. I'm looking forward to that. Looking forward to like the raids and the special ops that they're bringing. But
Yeah.
um, I genuinely just wish Call of Duty was a game that it seems like everyone enjoyed, and I think it felt like at least that everyone of every skill level everywhere seemed to enjoy Call of Duty back in the day. I don't know.
Mhm. With going into Modern Warfare 2, are you a little more relieved or kind of upset with the fact that once unlocking one attachment, it unlocks it for every series in that like class? So for with the ARs, like if you unlock a grip for one, it unlocks it for the rest. Do you feel like that kind of takes away from the completionist feeling for you, or?
Absolutely not. I think that's a great quality of life. I think that's a great quality of life innovation that they've made, and I don't think it's something that I would have thought about in a million years. That's a very good and important quality of life innovation because nobody likes it's leveling weapons is just there as a playtime extender. They're there to get you playing the game for longer. They don't really do anything else for you. So it's really nice of them to sort of make that concession and just make it more easier and accessible, especially with people who don't have so much time to spend on the game. You get a new meta gun in Warzone, they're like, "Oh man, I got to go back to multiplayer and level this up." It's like
Yeah.
it's the
Yeah,
worst thing ever.
Hmm.
So
that
it
is true.
works. It really works well for them, but it's just for like people who have less time on their hands who don't 100% everything like me. If there's a new meta in Warzone, you already know. I already got it max level, all the attachments, master camo. You already know I'm flexing day one on that. But it's a really great quality of life innovation. I don't think it takes away from the completionist feeling at all, and I think it's a W, net W
Nice.
for the franchise.
Cool. Cool.
And then
So
we're around our. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
no, I was just about to say, if anybody has any questions that they would like asked to XVI the Great, you're more than welcome to put them in the chat, assuming you're watching live, and we'll try to get those addressed shortly. But what would you say to someone who is looking to get into Reddit, whether it's for Call of Duty or maybe some different game or maybe a different subject altogether? What advice would you give, having had the experience that you've had in the last year and a bit?
The advice I would say for getting into Reddit specifically, like if they're
Yeah.
looking to create content on Reddit, is that you have to know the demographic, just like you have to know the demographic on YouTube and TikTok and whatever. People are always in every chat everywhere asking, "How do I get the algorithm? How do I get the algorithm?" Reddit necessarily doesn't have an algorithm, but it's important to know the crowd. And if you want to publish content on Reddit, I don't mean to be discouraging in the slight bit, but gameplay is almost certainly not welcome. People just do not like gameplay on Reddit. They don't like they like information, clips, they like clips, but like if you're thinking of publishing like full gameplay like YouTube class setup styles, people don't really like that. They prefer text guides because the reason they go to Reddit is because YouTube is
Yeah.
full of bloat. And so when they see like a 9-minute video of full class setup, it they probably assume that it's just 9 minutes of bloat, right? So I think text guides win on Reddit a lot because it's the type of content that they prefer. They don't go on,
Mhm.
Redditors tend not to be engaged with social media apps. They don't tend to be on Twitter, on Twitch, on YouTube. They don't tend to have accounts. They stay away from a lot of that. And the reason for that is Reddit's content is primarily text. It's articles, it's user posts, and it's text posts. So
Hmm.
and Reddit's very antisocial, anti not antisocial, but anti-social promotion. Um,
Yeah.
they very much dislike, oh, go to my Twitter and you'll see the full. Go to my YouTube, you'll see the full class. They're like, hell, post that right here. Like I'm not clicking on that. So it's you have to know the crowd, and it's a tough crowd. It's a tough crowd because these are people that are very perceptive, and they're they pull a lot of the this you moments. They got the receipts. If they can very easily tell if someone's BSing. So it is a tough crowd, but I think just being honest and transparent about everything that you can be, and being as fair and I guess kind as you can, I think it helps.
You kind of mentioned something that I wanted to follow up with, and we talk a lot about conversion rates and stuff here, where how many people go over to your Twitter from your TikTok or something like that. Have you seen people that go to your YouTube or your stream or follow you on Twitter who may have found you first on Reddit? Or is it mainly the other way?
I see them a bit, but I would say, considering that the Atomic Guide has approximately 3 million views and I don't have 3 million followers. In fact, I don't even have a fraction of that. You could see the conversion rates, because on every loadout I put, I have a little link. It's kind of like a loadout card that you can share with your friends that has my socials at a glance, Twitter, Twitch, and Reddit. I think the conversion rates are very, very low on that. And I'm not necessarily, upset about that or anything. It's just the crowd.
Yeah.
It's just the crowd. I would say that the conversion rate is low. There's certainly people that DM me on Twitter and say like, "Hey, I saw your guys on Reddit," or like Twitch, they stop by like, "Hey, I saw you guys on Reddit," and it's like, that's awesome. I'm glad to see that there's some element of conversion, but I would suspect that the numbers would be much, much higher on YouTube, for example.
Yeah, so you'd probably be better off directing people to the Reddit from other platforms and trying to foster some growth that way, or getting your guides to circulate on Twitter rather than just trying to have that, like, the Reddit crowd fuel your other social media. That just, like you said, doesn't seem to be what people are about there. Whereas on TikTok, link in bio, more on Instagram, whatever, people are going to fall for that a lot easier, it seems to me. So
yeah, definitely, because TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, they're all in the same circle of social media. Whereas Reddit, it is a social media, but it's like the anti-social social media. I don't know. It's very much in a league of its own. So, yeah.
I like that. The anti-social media.
Yeah. Anti-social social club.
Yeah. We got a question here from Matthias Skirata Matt. He said, will there be a separate subreddit for MW2 or will it be on your main Reddit?
It'll be on the main Reddit. I don't think I can type in the chat from here, but I guess I could in the Twitch stream. Just reddit.com/r/XVI. I'm going to, when it gets closer to the Modern Warfare 2 launch, I have the pinned thread at the top of my subreddit as like all Vanguard resources. Soon, once Vanguard pushes out its very last bits of content, then that'll change over to all Modern Warfare 2 resources, and I keep everything organized and collected there right at the top, right on the master thread. So it'll be in the same place.
Awesome. Once again, reddit.com/r/XVI. So check it out, guys. We'll have that linked it is linked in the description on YouTube, and you'll be able to find that elsewhere as well. Now, Megan would like to know, what's your goal time frame for getting mastery camo? Ooh.
That's a tough one to answer without knowing. We don't know how many guns are going to be in the game, I don't think, and it all depends on the game itself. Are the camo challenges are they very specialized? Where they require you to play like different modes and stuff? Does it take a long time to level up the weapons? My goal time frame for getting the mastery camo, traditionally I complete them within 30 days. Atomic took 45 days, and that was Atomic was by far the longest. Atomic was a full-time job. It took 8 hours to level up one weapon. Okay, Atomic was a full-time job, but I would say 30 days would be if it's more traditional.
How long did it take you to get Damascus?
30 days.
Jesus.
So it took you 30 days to get Damascus and a month and a half to get Atomic?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I mean, well, I didn't start the Atomic Guide until after I personally got Atomic itself. So it was after I had gone through the game and played it over and over and over and over again, and really like learned all the aspects of it, because that maybe once I complete assault rifles, for example, in Modern Warfare 2, I probably won't just immediately go off and write a guide. There's still so much to figure out about a game. And that's what I was doing with Vanguard. It's like I wanted to go out there and just publish a guide, boom, get it out there, but there's still, there's still so much information and everything to learn about the game, the long shot spots, all the stats, and all the factors and everything that go into efficient camo grinding. And yeah. I don't spare any time. I go right into it. As soon as I get one gun done, boom, next one.
Hey, more power to you. No way in hell I could do that.
That is impressive.
I like doing it as early as possible, because then people are like, damn, you already got that? Like, it's like, you already know about this life? Come on, who was you talking to?
Yeah, you pick up that gun in the lobby and it's like, how do you have atomic already? It's been 29 days or 45 or whatever. Like, what?
I mean, my latest streams have been getting the new weapons, both atomic and dark ether, in the same stream. Usually I get those done in 5 hours. 2.5 hours to get gold done, 2.5 hours to get zombies done. So I always love doing new guns. I love doing DLC weapons.
I don't know what to say to that. Dude's on a different level. Holy.
Do it for long enough, and I guess you get efficient at
it. I guess so. We had a really good question from Belm. Skirata Belm. He says, thoughts on adding things like map guides, best places to sit, camp, spawns, possible rotations for hardpoint, might reach a new audience.
I've thought about that. It may depend on whether Ace does his maps exposed thing, because that's effectively what he's doing. For in-depth tips and tricks like that, it's a maybe. I mean, I provided long shot spots for every map that was good for long shots for the atomic camo grind. There was like 10 or 12 maps that I provided, like, go here to these angles, these 4 angles, here on a bunch of different maps. I included a bunch of screenshots. That's something. But possible rotations for hardpoint, I think I'd rather teach people skills rather than tricks. See, the proper way to teach somebody something new is to teach them a skill and not a trick. It's the whole teach a man to fish thing. It's if I teach you to rotate from, on shoot house, to rotate from hardpoint 1 to hardpoint 2 by taking this path, you might remember, okay, well, when I'm playing hardpoint on shoot house, I take this path to go from hardpoint 1 to hardpoint 2. Whereas if I tell you that the proper way to understand, it's like, it's a bit difficult to summarize in a Call of Duty context, but I'd rather tell people a universal rule that tends to work for just about every hardpoint and every like spawn rotation, for example, rather than showing like individual maps. I don't know. It's people understand things better when you teach them tricks. That's the actual saying. When you teach them mechanics and not tricks. When they understand the mechanic of how something works, they can take that knowledge. That's the perfect example. Okay, here it is. This is how I teach people. I'm typing something in the Twitch chat. This is how you teach people math. You teach people. Oh no, I've done it wrong.
Uh-oh.
People that 1 mark plus 2 mark equals 2, and not 1 plus 1 equals 2. See, the difference between those two is that you're teaching, in the bottom example where it says 1 plus 1 equals 2, you're teaching them that this symbol and this symbol equals that symbol, whereas opposed to one strike. But it's like it's a bit different. It's like 1 plus 1 equals 2. It's different in how it's visualized. So instead of memorizing that the symbol for 1 and the symbol for 1 equals the symbol for 2, it's a bit different. I didn't explain it in the best way, but that's how I like to teach.
Yeah, it's not just showing people that something works, but like the how and the why. And once you know the how and the why, I mean, the rest is going to fall into place regardless of kind of what Megan added to that. So
Megan's already
she's clarifying. Oh my gosh. Well, that's really interesting. And I just want you to know that I will give you a pass if you make a camping guide for MW2. However, I might put your Twitter on mute for about a month after. Just
okay.
I'll need to just get that out of my system. Like, I don't know if we need to encourage that anymore. The amount of camping I saw in the beta, my God. I mean, people laying down with tac rifles or battle rifles, whatever they're called. Like, I spawn in from across the map. pow. Like, why are you playing like this, my man? We're in a beta. You're laying down with a scope on a tac rifle. Like, just stop.
It seemed it was like very one or the other too. You either had a lobby that was fully moving, or you had a lobby where no one
Right.
moved. Like there
And
was
then they'll
no
be able
mix.
to tell all their friends where they learned their tips and tricks from. Oh boy, check out Reddit. I might cry. We've gone this whole stream, this whole podcast without giving any special shout outs to the Twitch community. Again, this I think is our fourth maybe stream on Twitch, third or fourth. We do it on YouTube and Twitch live, and so sometimes we try to gas up the chat a little bit midway through. But we had a resub. I'll try to get all these and not miss anyone. Resub from Tevin, from Matt. We actually kicked off a hype train, which is cool. We had Panda come in and resub and gift a few, which is really cool. And 1,000 biddies. Thank you, Panda. Binksy resubbed, Paradox resubbed, and then Tyler Teminoy just resubbed for another month as well. So, Megan, what? Chat is going wild. I can't keep up with this.
That's not what 1 + 1 = Megan.
Oh, Megan. Yeah, if I'm missing anybody with the subs and the and all that, I really apologize. I'm just a washed Twitch mod, and I'm also trying to co-host a podcast, so you got to cut me a little bit of slack. But thank you everyone for all of that support on Twitch. We're going to keep doing this on both platforms and hopefully getting a good community going with that. So, man, I can't believe we've been doing the podcast for well over a year now. That's pretty crazy. And to finally get a Redditor on here is something very different from the normal, Twitch streamer, YouTube creator. It's really cool to see. So, this has been really fun. And, I don't want to take up too much of your afternoon, but hopefully we'll get you on sometime to talk about your thoughts about MW2 after the game actually comes out, because I know that if we need technical knowledge and rationality based responses to the game, we know who to go to. I'm going
to try to be as open-minded and
yeah.
As thoughtful and calm, and try to adapt the best that I can. I always have difficulty adapting to new Call of Duties. Maybe I need to adapt harder, like everybody says, but I'll try my best to be open-minded about it. And obviously, I don't want to have a bad time in a Call of Duty, but
no, nobody does.
Pray for me.
You got it. Tevin, anything else?
No, it was a pleasure having you on here, XBI. It was great to learn the more technical side about it. Like Spencer said, it was definitely a complete different perspective about it. So it was cool to see it from that standpoint.
Thank you for having me. I'm always happy to talk Call of Duty. I love talking COD.
Absolutely, man. It's been a pleasure having you. Thank you, chat, for hanging out live, and thank you to anyone who listens after the fact. We appreciate the support, and we will catch you in the next one. Bye.